Awesome. Thank you all for joining. This is our weekly Kafka live stream, and I'm your host, Adam Noonan, joined with the wider Lenses team today. Today, we're going to be talking about user-defined functions in Lenses SQL Studio. So we'll jump right in. So we'll be talking about user-defined functions. We call them UDFs for querying and transforming data with our SQL engine. And to give us a primer on Lenses SQL, we've got Matthias to give us a quick explanation. So Matthias, hand it off to you, sir.
The first thing is when I was at DBA, I was so afraid of these UDFs. I was like crazy because when working databases, when you try to create UDF, it's crazy. But the first thing that when you start to work in these stupid systems that we can have more than one type to work on. For example, we have two engines using the SQL inside of Lenses, which is amazing to me because we have the process when I can shape my data. I can do like some transformation, and then I have output topic I have in place when I have the other topic, and then I have the snapshot. Then I want to explore. I want to make like a query, like a database. So I can have a snapshot based on time. I just consume that data and I bring that data, which is amazing. Again, now let's imagine using UDFs and all these guys with snapshot. So with you, Adam.
Thank you, Matthias. Yeah, and we talk a lot about Lenses SQL using our SQL processors and SQL Snapshot. They're definitely a core part of our platform with significant value adds on both sides, whether you're transforming or exploring data. And we've done previous sessions and live streams on those, and many more to come as well. If you're interested in getting started with SQL processor and SQL Snapshot, just stay tuned. And then just a refresher, the SQL's processor is a stream processing engine. It uses that exact same SQL syntax that we have in SQL Studio for querying and asking questions about data. So you can easily copy and paste. So you can test those transformations out and then deploy your Kafka Streams application, just writing a few lines of SQL as a Kubernetes job and runner. That's the 101 context for today, which tees us up for user-defined functions in Lenses SQL. So user-defined functions are not UFOs, they are UDFs, so slight difference there. But within Lenses SQL, we have a significant amount of out-of-the-box functions. So when you're working with data, aggregating, working with strings, any sort of transformation you would think you can do with SQL, we pretty much have built in already to the Lenses platform. So lots of value right when you get started with Lenses for obfuscating data, working with date time and strings as well as arrays. But we commonly hear from customers that they're working with a very specific use case and type of data, whether it's biostatistics, geolocation data, or even IP network and insider range data. And when you're working with specific data like that, you end up replicating a lot of efforts. So you come up with the math that you need, and then you end up copy and pasting that over and over again within your query or within your stream processing engine. And we're all technical people here. We love to automate whatever we can. And in the interest of that, we enabled user-defined functions for Lenses SQL. And so what this enables your teams to do is to define that business logic in some Java or Scala code. And then you can easily configure Lenses to integrate and use that logic within Lenses SQL there and make it available to the wider team there. Again, all about lowering the barrier to entry for working with Kafka data, removing complexity, and democratizing data access here, significantly reducing time to value. So again, some use cases here might be for very specific types of data sets, geospatial analysis, any sort of advanced mathematics or lookups, and then also different capabilities that you could extend SQL processors for, maybe even creating vectors from event data or interacting with external systems too. And now we're going to touch on the how-to UDF. For that, we have Fran on as well. Fran, were you able to join? Is everything working? I think you're on mute if you're talking.
Yeah, sorry. Hello. Yeah, I was on mute. Sorry. Yeah, all good. Not sure if my webcam is working. I see a black screen there, but even when I try to enable it, so yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, let's see how we can show. And
No worries. I'll just go through the real quick of what we've done ahead of time so that they know how to get started with UDFs, and then we'll hand it over to you for the demo. That sounds good.
Cool.
And I think maybe Adam, because often we talk about UDFs, but actually there's UDA or aggregate functions, right? You can either do analysis on individual events, or there's also the ability to do an aggregation. So
in the case of SQL, count would be an example of an aggregate function in SQL, whereas a toString would be an example of a non-aggregate function, right? So maybe it's important for the users to know that you can custom develop functions that process individual events, but also functions that aggregate events. I think what we're going to show today is probably just individual events, right?
Just individual events today, but that is a good point of clarification. You can see here that we're using the public class, which is implementing user-defined function. If we were looking to implement a user-defined aggregate function, like Guillaume mentioned, working with more than one record or message value, then we would use that class instead. So slight point of difference in important technical detail there, but the overall, the concept holds the same too. So if you're developing a UDF or UDAF, this process will be more or less identical. So when you're integrating your UDF, the first thing you're going to do is define that logic as code. You can do this with Java or Scala code. You can see here just the initial public class that we implemented for what we'll be demonstrating today. And then after you have your Java code, you will be creating your dependency file, which I'm learning new to Java. I've had some issues earlier today with my dependency files. Thank you, Fran, for helping out with that. That's going to go in your pom.xml, add all the good stuff there, everything your application will need. And you got to make sure that your folder structure is correct too, something I did not do at first. And then you're just going to build the application. I used Maven, which is a quick MVN package, and it's going to take your application file and logic there, as well as the dependencies, and create a jar file. Once you have your jar file up and ready to go, then you just need to mount that onto your Docker container that is running Lenses, or you can add it directly to the Linux machine that is running Lenses. Again, if you're new to Lenses, you haven't seen any of our previous sessions, definitely check out the session on Lenses box. Really easy to get up and started with. You can easily create these jar files, mount them there, and test your UDF locally. So you can see here a Docker run command, as well as a volumes mount for a Docker compose file, if that's what you're using. And now I'll hand it over to you, Fran, for a quick demonstration of a UDF.
Oh, so let me share my screen. Where is it, Fran? Okay, let's first, I'm gonna show the code a bit just to, show the same stuff that Adam has already been talking about, what we have to implement, the interface that we have to implement in the end. Here we have our, here we have our POM file where we are adding the dependency of the Lenses SQL UDF. And once we have this, we are able to write our own class, implementing, in this case, a user-defined function with 2 arguments. Something to highlight here is that your class has to be under this package so that Lenses will be then able to pick it up and use it from inside Lenses. And then you will have to basically implement the interface with the logic that you want. Here is the name that will be then appear in Lenses when trying to use the function. Gonna stop sharing now this site. I'm gonna share again to show the browser and Lenses so we can see the actual demo.
So maybe we want to just explain. So we're implementing a side map, which is what's their function actually going to do? Maybe Adam or Fran. It takes an IP address as an input, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it takes. Yeah, go ahead, Adam.
It accepts 2 variables as input. The first is going to be a CIDR range, and then the second variable will come from the actual Kafka message. It'll be an IP address. The function just checks to see if that IP address is within that CIDR range, and then returns a true false. Simple logic, but easily composable and used in a wide variety of networking or application use cases.
Thanks, Adam. Yeah, here is an example, a query example to create the topic that we are going to be using for the demo. We currently have this error because the table or the topic already exists. If we run it again, we are going to get the same error. But yes, because I already ran it before and it's earlier and it exists. So once we have this, we are inserting dummy data here with some IPs that some of them will match the range that we want to validate against, and some of them won't. So we will see that the output in this case, the output of the UDF is going to be true or false, depending if the IP of the incoming record matches the range or not.
And I just want to pause here real quick and emphasize that this is showing an expanded capabilities of SQL Studio, whereas in the previous sessions, we talked about how it's great for troubleshooting and testing transformations. But some of our customers don't know that they can actually go in and create topics with some configuration there, and then even insert values in bulk too, which is great for testing. Go ahead.
It's very helpful. I can, say that because we use that quite a lot internally as well. But yeah, this is a very simple query as an example that we are using this CIDR map function. I'm gonna copy and write it again just to show you how CI. Here we can see that it's auto-completing. We have all these custom function, the helper or the description of the function is coming from the implementation that we did, and the one that I showed you quite a few minutes ago. And once we have this query, we can run it, and we see that here we are evaluating. We have the result of the UDF function, evaluating to true or false, depending if the incoming IP from this case, the firewall data, is matching the IP range that we want to match against. In this case, there are few that are matching, there are others that are not. And this is the evaluation. And then we can even use the result of that function to filter the data. So we, for instance, in this query, we are filtering to get only the ones that evaluate to true. So we get only the IPs that are matching the range that we are sending. And here you can see that only the values that the ones that evaluate true are being returned. Questions? Reality is a very short demo. We can play a bit with these queries if you are up to. But these are the two main, let's say, scenarios, how we can use the custom function we created, plus the resulting of that, the usage of that function, and how we can use that as well for filtering.
Perfect. And I think one of the points of emphasis too is this isn't only saving Fran time, if this is what he's working with day in, day out, but this function is now available to his entire company as well. So it's saving everybody time who's working with these similar data structures. Guillaume, I'm wondering if maybe you could add some flavor on what this sort of function might be used for when you're analyzing network activity.
Yeah. Firewall logs and network identity intrusion prevention logs are quite a common data source that we see amongst our customers. It's quite common to do to have to apply CIDR ranges and CIDR mapping to that, especially anyone that works in IT ops or security. And actually, there's someone on the chat, Olivier, that asked if you can use that to do some sort of lookup, a CSV lookup file. I haven't personally tried to do that, but I don't see the problem in. And it could be that maybe you want to map an IP address to a host name via lookup. I think that would be a pretty common use case. So I don't know if Olivier wants to ask the question directly on the call.
So the idea is to provide a list of network addresses that you want to filter against or with some details. So here you're just giving one subnet, and the idea is to provide a list of subnet or list of subnet that corresponds to a certain tag that is part of the CSV.
Yeah, that should be easy. Yeah, go on.
I can see you easily doing that with this, just some simple casting, using that true false and casting that as that specific subnet too. And another point of emphasis is because this is now added to Lens's SQL, that stream processing has this CIDR map capabilities as well. So you could develop a full application lifecycle based off of this function, where you're not just filtering based on subnets and CIDR ranges, but actually routing messages and information into applications specific to where these requests are coming from too. So I think it enables quite a bit.
Someone said to me the other day, they've got some application logic. So it's great to be able to transfer some logic that you have in your application as a custom UDF to help troubleshoot. For any ops team that needs to troubleshoot, they can just use the function in Lenses to effectively replicate what your downstream application does. That might help you troubleshoot without having to speak to that separate team. And Matthias, that was the kind of discussion that we had the other day, right? That you
Yeah, exactly what I was thinking right now was the whole idea of UDFs based on what we show you guys here is you have this code in Java. From you know about Kafka, we know a lot about application, for instance. And then you have this code and I need the same output. I have to transfer everything. I have to create like a full new thing instead of using the existing one. No, I think the existing one, I can see from create from the jar. I'm going to deploy in Lenses. I'm going to have this interfaces in SQL. I think the best thing is how we can unite the teams. So I don't need to strictly know Kafka, or I can no need to know strictly know Java, but I'm like a data analyst, for example. When I want to do some exploration, I want to understand the field of data. I want to do some testing, for example. And the same for the developer. Doesn't need to know Kafka. He knows about a little bit Java. I know this huge code. I say, okay, I want now to test a specific feature. If you see that data, it's going to be what I'm expecting to do. So I really see this, how easy, in the easy way. If you're for the partner, you're going to be like deploying, he's going to understand that it's a function, a custom function, and then you start to use it. So I think that the deployment is easy as well. So I was thinking, I can see a lot of scenarios, ideas, how you can do it. And guys, again, use it. Like, Olivier give the idea of, okay, if I use this file, CSV, this lookup file, okay, use imagination. But the whole idea is to be flexible. But again, it's a UDF, so be careful.
And something that just occurred to me too is because it is application code and we're working with Docker containers or Helm charts, I could see a CI/CD flow too, where a developer is creating a pull request, they're adding their Java code and then jar files to a repo that gets added and mounted to their Lenses instance. They do like a weekly refresh, and then they have their new UDFs all uploaded in Lenses. I think that would be really cool. Not something I've seen somebody do, but definitely seems possible in my head.
Scenario. Yeah, see, we start talking, we see a lot of scenarios based on this because I think the most valuable lesson everybody should take it off of the session is that you can bring your business logic, you can bring what you're trying to do to a platform that gives you a SQL language. Again, I don't see the most easy way to do data analytics, to do everything actually. As a language, a SQL is easy. You just do select and then you have the result that you want. So
Yeah.
the most important take out.
That's a great point. I know when I'm talking to prospects and customers, I often say Lenses is your building block, your Lego block for working with Kafka. Since everything's backed by an API and you have a CLI, you can define UDFs as code. It's just a building block on top of Kafka that's awesome for automating these things. And again, reducing that time to value for real-time data flows.
Yeah, and then you can improve like the onboarding of new developers. You can improve the integration between teams. Because again, you have one place that you can, but in the easy way, you can have this, okay, guys, the developers, testing this. Can you guys show this function approach to see how it goes? Or the data team as well. I have this idea of this. Everything I think is their own data, so they're expecting. But let's make easy the interface because Kafka is not easy. You should do this. I've been working with that for a while. It's not easy. You have to do like a producer, a consumer, like side. You have to use the programming part and it's not easy. It's not beauty.
Wise words. So if you are excited about what you saw today, you can easily get started with your own UDFs just by running our local Lenses box. It's one Docker container, has everything packaged in, Lenses, single Kafka broker, Zookeeper, Kafka Connect, everything you see here with all the bells and whistles you get with Lenses. Again, that's what we used to demo today. So fantastic local development environment. You can get started with that at lenses.io/start. Let us know what you think. Try some UDFs yourselves. Always open to feedback, and you can contact us on Slack with those results. We do want to make a special announcement for our release of the new version of Lenses, which will be 5.5. Some big improvements here. 3 new open source Kafka connectors on the market today and included in the user interface in Lenses. Definitely check those out. We've also done some reviews over those specific connectors and features that are available there. So we have some videos on YouTube for that. Also, the ability to view and manage connectors as code. This will be our first steps into GitOps and CI/CD integrations with Kafka assets. We're starting off with connectors and releasing our new standard for Kafka assets as code. So definitely check out this release webinar for everything that we're releasing into the platform. And that will be on April 12th at 4 p.m. CET or 10 a.m. Eastern time. I think there should be a link in the chat to register for that as well. So definitely click that and register. And with that, thank you so much. Definitely tune in next week. We'll be having the whole team here again, talking about tips and tricks for working with Apache Kafka and everything we have going on here at Lenses.